If peace were a color, what color would that be? Close your eyes. Imagine it. Do you have it? Hey, what color is peace? Wrong. Was it a... Have you ever wondered who comes up with color names? Like, whose job is it to name a Crayola crayon? That's what I want to know. Spoiler alert, it's not just one person. I can tell you where Crayola gets their color names, but to tell you that, I have to first tell you about a guy. And at the end of this video, I'll quiz you on how well you can guess color names. Let's get into it. Hermann Ludwig Ferdinand von Helmholtz. Wow. A distinguished name for a distinguished gentleman. Everything we know about classifying color first came from Helmholtz. His scientific achievements range from energy conservation to the heat death of the universe to sensory physiology to ophthalmology. Dude was a busy guy, to say the least. He theorized that every color can be simplified into 3 attributes, but he never provided the language or any kind of visual model to describe what these 3 attributes were. This just lived in his head. But color was only an incidental topic to him, never warranting the same kind of in-depth research as his other scientific experiments. He was too busy inventing the first instrument used to examine the inside of a human eye. It wasn't until 1905 when an American painter, and of course it was an artist, named Albert H. Munsell defined the 3 attributes that Helmholtz only theorized about: hue, value, and chroma. Munsell gave the attributes names, and he also made charts to visualize the concepts. It took Munsell 7 years of his own scientific research to make the first color chart, and by 1913 he created a total of 15 color charts, which he released in a book called Atlas of the Munsell Color System. These color charts don't look like our modern day color charts, but he pioneered them. He died a few years later though, so he never got to see the world embrace his work. The Munsell Color Company was established after his death to continue Munsell's mission of defining and standardizing color. Atlas of the Munsell Color System was then republished as Munsell's Book of Color, which then later informed Color Names Dictionary. Why is this important? Because these works define the language of color we use today. It all goes back to these books. Before Munsell's charts, we named colors based on the inks, pigments, and minerals and spices from which they came. How to say azure? Azure is a blue, named after the deep blue stone common in the Middle East. Britannica states that the word red derives from Sanskrit rudira and Proto-Germanic rauthes. I'm definitely saying those wrong, so my apologies. Rudira means blood, and even in the ancient Akkadian language, the word red means like blood. We're visual creatures, and that informs how we name things. It's a logical way to name things, but it becomes hard to distinguish a very specific shade of a color from a similar shade. If every shade of red is named red, then how do you know what shade you're talking about? The solution is that you name every shade of every color. Makes sense and seems easy enough, except you need every language, dialect, geographical area, occupation, and culture to agree on the same thing. People can't agree on even the most basic of things, so it amazes me that we all agreed on the language of color. This visual method of naming exists in Munsell's charts, but it's expanded upon and more descriptive in Color Names Dictionary. This dictionary, later published as part of the book named Color, Universal Language and Dictionary of Names, lists names and plot points of where it falls on Munsell's charts in terms of hue, value, and chroma. Since one of the best ways to understand the name of a color is to create a mental image, the dictionary uses this method frequently. A lot of the names in the dictionary are as follows: faded rose, apricot cream, Italian straw, antique brass, shrimp pink, smoke gray. The names force you to visualize a specific object so you can imagine the color clearly. Some names, however, are up for interpretation, like murmur, peace, finesse, enchantress. I have no idea what colors those names are supposed to provoke. Oof, if peace were a color, what color would that be? Close your eyes, imagine it. Do you have it? Was it a yellowish white? Because that's what it's supposed to be. I personally was imagining a blue, but that just goes to show how subjective color can be. Peace is listed near Heavenly Charm and Pearly Gates, which are also under the yellowish white category, and I don't think that's a coincidence. Imagine like the stereotypical view of heaven in the clouds and golden rays. It's a yellowish white. It's interesting how religion and culture can impact the way we perceive color. If I asked you what color hell is, I can imagine you might say red. Though that's not in the dictionary I checked, because we're thinking of flames of hell and that red devil character. Anyway, I digress. The dictionary's purpose, as stated within the book, was to assist the scientist, businessman, and layman to understand the different color vocabularies used in the many fields of art, science, and industry. And it did. This dictionary standardized a lot of the color names we use today. Munsell got his wish. We can now distinguish between periwinkle and lavender. Or can you? Most women can. Men might have more trouble. Researchers say that women are better at distinguishing tiny differences in colors that look identical to men. And women have better color language than men. Apparently testosterone may be to blame for this, which I find interesting. There's a study, I'll link it below. Speaking of women, Color, Universal Language and Dictionary of Names states that it became clear that most colors were bought by or for women. So the names of colors shifted to more feminine ones. Names like French Nude, Heart's Desire, and Intimate Mood were invented. Why? Because capitalism, of course. But there was actual economic importance. Fabrics and paints sold better when the names of the colors were more attractive to women, since they were the target demographic. I think this explains the names of nail polishes too, though some take it too far. Names like Jailbait, Cougar Attack, Size Matters. I'm more of a fan of how Mooncat names their nail polishes. Crayola says that they use Color, Universal Language, and Dictionary of Names to name their crayons. Some names are not in the dictionary, as Crayola allowed the public to name a few. Looking at you, beautiful. But the majority of the names come from the same dictionary that define the language of color. Basically, all books I mentioned in this video morphed into this final boss named Color, Universal Language, and Dictionary of Names. The end-all, be-all of color names. I can't tell you why I fixated on this topic of color language other than it intrigues me. Who knew that a single book held authority over all color names? I just assumed painters had a hold on the names we use, and while that's not entirely untrue, it's not the total picture. You can find these books online for free if you want to dig into this topic further. I'll link them below. And here's what you've all been waiting for, your pop quiz to test your color knowledge. Are you ready? What color is Enchantress? Wrong. It's moderate reddish orange. Finesse? Grayish yellowish pink. Breath of spring. Light yellow green. Ruby of arsenic. Strong orange yellow. Pacific. Pale green. You thought it was gonna be blue, didn't you? Titmouse blue. Pale green. Trick question. Resolute. Moderate blue. I figured I'd give you an actual blue this time. That's all. You probably failed. I failed. I'm experimenting with this new video format for fun. Let me know if you like it. Thank you for watching. See you next time!